Okay. This is the fourth time I'm going to try to make this video. Uh, Maybe. I don't even know how many times it's been. I tried it a few times and just didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. I couldn't quite get the point. And then the last time, my phone died in the middle of me recording the video. So apparently it's time for a new phone because this one just does not want to hold a charge. So I don't know if I need a new battery or what, but anyways, how do I look? I don't know where the camera is. The lens, I mean. I know it's somewhere over here. Uh, dreams, and the gender exploration. Uh, I don't know when I started having the dreams that I was on some kind of journey. I don't know when it started. It's been a recurring dream for years now. So I started. It's like I came out as trans around 2014. And when I came out, what I mean is that that was pretty much when I began uh, the gender exploration. Like not counting like the few times I tried cross dressing, like as a child, or as adolescent, or like if I was at a party and I put on a skirt just for the fun of it. But it was around 2014. It's currently 2024, so 10 years ago was around the time when I decided I am like seriously going to try cross dressing. I had suspected prior to that I was trans, just because of the way that my life had gone. I've made a video about how I came to the idea that I'm trans. I don't want to go over all that again here, but I do feel like I need to give a little bit of context. So what do I want to tell you? Uh, I didn't. I didn't know that I was trans uh, when I started like doing this sort of thing. I wasn't like, well, I'm trans, so that means I have to dress as a woman or anything like that. It was more different things in my life made me think that I have a problem, and the problem is related to gender. Uh, and then what kind of compounded the suspicion that I was trans was hearing other trans people tell their stories. So, but I only heard their stories once I started researching trans, and I started researching trans because I started to suspect that's what I was. uh, so I tried cross dressing around 2014, and when I tried it, then I had this kind of epiphany moment where I thought, yes, there is something to this. So that was around 2014. I don't know if the dreams started then, but for several years now, I've had this dream that I'm on a road and I'm trying to get somewhere. I don't know where it is. I don't know where I'm trying to get to. All I know is that I never get there. But I'm not going to talk about just those dreams here. I'm going to talk about some of the different dreams that I'm having and how they contribute to the idea of being trans, I guess, and or contribute to the idea of not being trans. I would say that at different points in my life, I've had different phases of recurring dreams. So, like when I was younger, like say prepubescent through adolescent, uh, I had recurring dreams that I could fly, right? Uh, in the last 20 years, I don't think I've had a single dream that I could fly. At one point, I had a recurring dream that I was in college or just in school. I had signed up for classes and I had forgotten that I had signed up for classes, or maybe I remember just one of the classes I had signed up for. So I might have, or several. So, like, I might have signed up for 5 or 6 classes, but then forgotten one or two of them, or even 5 of them, and didn't remember until near the end of the semester. And I don't know what those dreams were about, but they seemed to only last for a certain while in my life. There was only a few years when I had those dreams. It did seem that going back to school may have had something to do with why those dreams stopped. But here in the last, especially the last year, it seems like almost every other dream I have is about me being on a road. And they fall into 3 categories, or at least the categories that I've come up with, anyways. So one of the, maybe we could say 2 categories. But all of them are at least in one category, and that is being on the road, right? But so there's one that I have where I'm just walking. I'm just on foot, and I'm walking down a road, and it is like an interstate highway, and I have this concept that I have miles and miles to go. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what the end destination is. All I know is that I have miles and miles to go, and I'm on foot. Cars are speeding by me on the highway. I'm getting passed left and right, but I'm walking down this road. The second category is I have some means of transportation, but it's junk. So it might be like a skateboard. I'm on the highway, but I'm on a skateboard. Or it might be a tiny little car about the size of a go-kart. And I'm going down the interstate in that. And again, I'm still being passed by people. Or the car is just, I'm like, I can't make it in this thing. This thing is a piece of junk. I need a real car. And there have been times when I've had dreams just about the acquisition of the car. So there have been times when I might be walking through the woods and I come across a bunch of abandoned cars, and I'm kind of like, can I get one of these started? And then the third category is I am a passenger in someone else's vehicle. And again, I don't know where we're going, but it does sometimes happen that if I'm in a passenger in someone else's car, that I end up in a ditch or a ravine. 3 times I've dreamt, at least, that I was either in the passenger seat or in the back seat of someone else's car, and ended up stuck in a ravine. And all 3 of those, the person who was driving was either my brother or my father. So I don't know what that's about. The last one I had was my father. That I was in the back seat of a car that he was driving, and he drove it into a ravine, and I was stuck down in the car in the ravine. He somehow managed to escape without, in this kind of Star Trek-y, like he was beamed out of the car at the last second kind of thing. And I was stuck down in the ravine like, fuck, how am I going to get out of here? So those are the journey dreams. And like I said, I don't know if those started when I started the gender exploration. I suspect that they are related. Some of the other dreams kind of go with that in a way. I shouldn't say they go with it, but there are that dream has been tied in with other dreams that I've had that are tied in with the gender exploration. So another thing that happened after I started the gender exploration, I know this started after the gender exploration started, was that I had at least 2 dreams that I saw a woman that I was in love with, had been in love with for years prior to that. So I was like 32 when I fell in love with her, and then I was like, say, 38, somewhere around there when I started the gender stuff. So, but in the dreams, I am really just a witness, and I like in the first one, I see her in a room, like in a house. It's like this old kind of like 1800s stone mini castle type house. I don't know that the setting really matters all that much, though I do think it's interesting that this is the second time that I've had it. That was the second time that I had a dream about her in that kind of setting. Because I don't often dream about those kind of houses, but it just so happens that both times that she was in it. But in this one in particular, she was there with a bunch of men. They were I guess it was like kind of like a party kind of thing. Maybe they were just hanging out, But I don't know if I would really call it a party. But it became a party, you might say, when a bus full of women pulled up to the front door. And all the men are excited, but so is this woman who I was in love with. And I see that she's excited that there's this bus full of women, and she has an erection. And she looks down and she's like, oh. And seeing her erection, she's even now more excited that this bus full of women is out front. And that I had a similar dream like that later, where I saw her just laying on a bed, and I'm looking, she's completely naked, and I'm looking down at her groin, and I see this thing that looks like a tumor appear suddenly right on her pubic mound. And I'm like, is that a tumor? What is that? And it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger until I realize that I'm basically watching her grow a penis. And and I'm when I woke up, I thought, well, this is just a dream about me fantasizing about this woman that I'm in love with having a penis, because maybe what I want is for her to penetrate me. And but now I'm not so sure that that's what that means, or what that meant, because what happened after that, as I continued to explore the gender especially after I started the hormone replacement therapy. If you can't tell, I've been taking hormone replacement therapy for several years now. For a couple of years, I do have. I'm not wearing any pants because I just masturbated. But what happened after I started the hormones, especially, was that I started having dreams that I was penetrating women, which was not something that I dreamt about prior to that. I don't recall really having sexual dreams prior to me starting the gender exploration. I don't remember it ever. I never had a wet dream. I certainly don't remember having dreams about sex. I do remember having sexual frustration dreams. I'll put it that way. Like, I do remember having a dream about me trying to have sex with a woman, but her complaining that it was painful. Just almost as soon as I put it in, she's like, "Ow!" And we stopped, and I think that was it. But then other dreams, I might dream about a woman who maybe she's interested in me, but we approach each other, and there's this kind of like, she sees something or senses something that she's kind of like, no, I'm not interested. So I might have had dreams like that. But after I started the hormone replacement therapy, that's when I began having dreams where I was with a woman and she was straddling me, and there was this awareness that me being like a woman has something to do with this new found sexual prowess, whatever you want to call it. But that kind of dream wasn't constant. It didn't happen like every night. It was more just like it happened once, and then I might not have another one like it for a while, and then maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I started having regular dreams where I would be penetrating a woman, and I think it started with a girl that I actually dated. In one of the dreams I had, she was huge. I mean, not necessarily fat, but she was almost like a giant. And I was this little tiny man, and at first I was, anyways. I think, I don't remember if I switched to being like a tranny in the dream or something like that. Uh, but there was this kind of recognition that she found me attractive as a trans person, and once I had that, then I don't want to say I was okay with penetrating her, but then I approached her and penetrated her, and she instantly shrank down in size, to the point that she was now smaller than me. So she had been bigger than me before that, and now she became smaller than me. And after I penetrated her, and one of the things that happened when I started having these dreams was I started to think that I'm not really trans, that that yeah, I had this suppressed desire to penetrate women, that the gender exploration somehow just woke up. Like this is just something about the gender exploration, whether it was I've overcome my fear of being seen as a woman or what, I don't know. Uh, but that sort of thing had contributed to my kind of back and forth of, am I a man? Am I a tranny? What am I? Uh, because on some of the dreams, it started off with like me penetrating women as a trans, but then in some of the dreams I wasn't trans. I was just penetrating a woman, and some of the dreams I wasn't even penetrating. It was just I meet a woman, and we have that kind of approach towards each other. We see each other and we're like, yeah, we're interested, and we get closer, and all of a sudden they're okay with me, and I hold their hand or something, and there's this feeling that, yeah, this could work. This could work. But in some of those, I'm just a man, and so this kind of got me into this tumble of confusion where I'm like, what, I'm not understanding what's going on. I half expected when I started the hormones to discover this latent desire to be a wife or a girlfriend with a man. And but so far the opposite has happened. And I wasn't sure what to make of it. I'm still not entirely sure what to make of it. But then a couple days ago, I dreamt that I was I'm trying to remember the dream. I was with a woman who found me attractive, or at least she was flirtatious, or just kind of being inviting, in the sense of just welcoming, kind of that sort of thing. And I don't remember exactly what happened. I think I put my arms around her, and all of a sudden she became angry, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And she pushed me away, and got angry, and I think some people were there, and they were all watching, like, and I felt embarrassed. And I think what happened next was I was on the road again. And this after that, and I think this might have been the instance when I stopped school. I think I was on the road, and I wasn't on a highway. I was in like an inner city road, and stopped by a school where there was a big tree out in front of the school. And I don't think there was anybody at the school. I think the school was out, but there's this huge tree with the roots that kind of protruded from the ground, and they were big enough that you could almost sit on them like a park bench, which is what I did. Right, so I walked over to these tree roots and sat down, and I remember thinking, I am fucking tired of walking, and I don't know if I want to get up again. And in the next dream that followed that, I was in bed, and a guy that I know climbed into bed with me and wanted me to penetrate him. So he grabbed my dick and he tried to pull it kind of around. I'm actually pulling my dick right now as I describe this, because I think I was on my side, and I think he kind of like tried to curve it a bit so that he could, laying on his side, could get it inside him, something like that. Anyways, I don't. This was a little bit of a weird dream anatomy scene, but when I realized what was happening, I said, no, 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 no. And he, almost as soon as I said no, he got up and started walking away. But almost as soon as he walked away, I suddenly discovered that I had this huge erection that was almost up to my mouth. And he saw that, and he had this look on his face like, what the fuck? You know, you're telling me no, but your dick is saying yes. And that's what I thought. And I thought, I'm thinking I don't want this, but apparently my dick is saying, yeah, that's what I want. So this was the first time that I'd had a dream involving a man where I was in the position of being the one who's penetrating. And I don't mean that I have dreams about men where I'm being penetrated. So that was confusing, and this was just like in the last week. This was maybe 2 days ago. And I think he said something to me, something about my dick, about something about it being the best or something like that. But I woke up thinking that I have this apparently suppressed desire to penetrate. And that got me on this kind of like, maybe I'm not suppressing my transness. Well, maybe what I'm suppressing is my manliness. And it was quite confusing. I say that because I went to Starbucks that morning. I woke up and I went to Starbucks to work on my computer like I usually do. I don't actually go there to work on my computer. I go there to charge my devices and work on my computer, because I live in a bus. I don't have a power source in the bus aside from solar panels, which are not sufficient for me just to sit in the bus and work on my computer all day. But anyway, so I went to Starbucks to charge my stuff and work on my computer, and there's this good looking woman who's sitting 2 seats down from me, and I am thinking, she's hot. What is my desire? I am thinking that I do want to penetrate her. I am not sure if the trans thing has anything to do with that. I mean, what I mean is, I don't know if I want to be a woman with a penis with her, or if I want to be a man with her, or what. Uh, that question may not be that important. Really, the question that is more important is, do I actually want to penetrate her or not? uh, and people might be like, why does it matter? What do you mean? How do you not know? I say that just because of the experiences that I've had with women in the past, and feeling like a lot of times I don't know that I want to penetrate them because I don't get aroused when I'm with them. It happened several times that I was with a woman and I couldn't get an erection, and I wasn't sure that sex was what I wanted. And so this has long been a question for me of, what for women do I feel? What is it that I feel for women? uh, then I have dreams like the one I had last night, where I walk upon this group of people who are like performing some kind of musical. And it's the kind of thing that ordinarily I would look at and think, these people are kind of silly, especially the men. And that's what I felt in the dream. I see this group of people. I see there are women in the group, and then there are men in the group, and they're doing this kind of musical thing. And I see all the men, and I think they're kind of ridiculous. And so then I turn my focus towards the women, because I don't want to look at the men, because they make me feel funny. I feel a little bit like I said, they're just kind of like ridiculous, almost kind of like a Richard Simmons. I think that's his name, the exercise guru who was kind of like a high school cheerleader. Who, even when I was a teenager, I looked at and I thought, this guy's he's silly. But so I turn my focus towards the women, and I see a woman who has on like a necklace, and there's a heart pendant on the necklace, and she's standing beside another woman, and they're singing, and she puts her arm around the other woman, and in this kind of sisterly embrace. And it's not really a lesbian thing. There was nothing sexual. It was just like, I love you. I want to put my arms around you while we're singing. And when I saw that, I was envious. And I woke up with this still on my brain, in this kind of like sensing this desire to be close to women in a way that isn't a husband-wife, boyfriend-girlfriend thing. That I was aware of how envious I was of just this thing of not having to be in that role, of just envious of just kind of being in that space where I could just put my arm around a woman without it being a boyfriend, girlfriend, we need to be a couple sort of thing. This was one of the issues that I had. One of the reasons why I talk about the confusion that I had with women was because of the problems that I had with relationships, that where I would end up in relationships with women, and there was a question of, where is this going, that sort of thing. And I was always kind of like, I just want to take things one day at a time. I'm not interested in planning for the future. But there were times, like there was a woman who I met, who I wanted to be friends with. I knew that I wanted to at least be friends with her. I mean, we were hanging out, and I enjoyed hanging out with her. And at one point, she said to me that she would leave her husband for me if I agreed to marry her. And I said no. I knew that I didn't want to marry her. Uh, and that was partly because I didn't really want sex with her. But so she stopped talking to me. So I lost my friend because I wouldn't marry this woman. So we still keep in touch, but the whatever we had ended, and apparently it ended because she thought it was going somewhere, and the my lack of I don't want to say my lack of interest, but apparently just the kind of the lackadaisical attitude that I had towards the relationship was part of what attracted her to me in the first place. This kind of, you know, I'm up for whatever kind of, I shouldn't say whatever, but you know, I'm not I'm not I'm not like a dog, like, you know, like who's just begging for a treat. Uh, but yeah, so that was one of the things that this has been a sore spot in my life, is this not having a, I don't want to say decent, healthy or satisfying, maybe satisfying is the best word. I've not had a satisfying relationship with a woman. I don't mean a boyfriend girlfriend relationship, I just mean a relationship, period. Like an actual emotional connection with a woman. And then, of course, with the woman that I was in love with that I mentioned before, uh, when I was with her, I knew that I was in love. I was in this kind of like heightened religious experience, kind of like I'm in love kind of thing, and but I don't see us having sex. Like I just can't picture it in my head. And one of the dreams that I had about her before I started the gender exploration was that she had shown up at my father's house when I came to his house just to visit or something. I don't know why I was there. Uh, and I discovered that she had been there several days to wait for me to get there. That she knew I was going to show up, so she went to my father's house and he let her in, uh, just on based on the knowledge that I was in love with her. So she showed up at the door and he said, "Ah, this is the woman my son is in love with." So I'm going to let her stay here because she wants to stay here. So I walk into the house and she's coming out of the bathroom, having just taken a shower. Her hair is wet. She's wrapped in a towel. And I thought that is the sexiest thing that I've ever seen. And this is the best day of my life. And so I didn't even say hello to my father or his wife or even to her. I just pointed to the bedroom that was across from the bathroom. And so she went into the bedroom. I followed straight behind her, and I turned around and shut the door behind me. So now she and I are facing each other in front of the bed. And that's where the dream ended. And I'm like, what? This was about to be the best moment of my life. That's what I thought in the dream. She's standing there in front of the bed in this sexy kind of wet hair towel wrapped around her body thing that I am just like, you know, my brain is on fire, right? And and I'm just kind of waiting for the next scene, and it just stops. Uh, but even when I was with her in my waking life, there was never any image. There was no fantasy. There was no. I don't see us actually in bed together having sex. Uh, I would try to think about it, and there were times when I would sit down and write poems about her, and I would catch glimpses of us up in this stony kind of like castle type environment that was very high up. That like when you look out the window, all you see are sky and clouds. You don't even see the ground. And I remember having that image and then seeing her in this space and then seeing myself in this space, and I look like a woman. I had long brown wavy hair, and I'm wearing this like see-through-ish like, it wasn't silk, but it was this kind of soft fine material. And I didn't see us having sex in this image. I just saw that image of us. It was very similar to the dream where we were basically just facing each other. We're in this large room. I do believe there was a bed in the room. But this image of us together was one of the things that made me think that I was trans. It wasn't just the image, but it was the whole thing of being in love with her, but not having a clear fantasy of what I wanted, a clear image of what I wanted, aside from that glimpse. And then, of course, like having that dream where we're in the bedroom together and it just stopping. And this, like I said, that was before the gender exploration. So when I started the gender exploration, and then I started almost immediately having dreams about her with a penis, that was when I started to think, what I wanted from her was basically a lesbian relationship where she has a penis. But even now, I am not so sure that's what that means, and I suspect that the dreams I had about her with the penis were actually me. That I wasn't at a point yet where I was ready to see myself as a woman with a penis, so I subconsciously put her in my place because I saw her in some way that you might say that the reason that I was in love with her in the first place was because I saw her as the woman that I wanted to be. That there was some kind of identification or sympathetic resonance that was what the feeling of being in love was in some way about, was this recognition of, you're like a mirror image of myself, except you're female and I'm not. And so looking back at those dreams I had with her with a penis, I do suspect that was related. It could be that I want her to have a penis, but I do also think that it was related to me finding my own penis. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Which is to say that I'm starting to suspect that what I have is a feminine penis, which basically just means that it works the way that it's supposed to, or it works best, or however else you want to put it, when I see myself look like a woman. And that what I wanted with her was to be someone who looks like a woman, but who has a penis. I have not had a dream about her where I had sex with her as a woman with a penis. I don't think I've had a dream that I've had sex with her at all. Of all the dreams I've had of penetrating women, I don't think she was one. But yeah, so this is one of the things that I feel like my dreams are pointing to, and I suspect that the journey is something to do with that. That the constantly walking in the dream is related to me finding my sexual home. Or you might say that the home I'm looking for is related to my sex life. Or my gender. Something like that. Something along those lines. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. Like I said, I just masturbated. And you see I'm wearing a wig. I wore the wig when I masturbated. I didn't take my shirt off because the windows are not covered in my bus, so anyone can see me. But I am sitting right across from a mirror. You see the mirror over there? So I sat over here without my pants on and masturbated at myself, looking like a woman. So, the end.